What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking a look at the last of the Paldea starters on the last day before Paldea Evolved hits PTCG Live. Definitely not the People's Champ.
You're despicable.
But we're going to bring it to you anyway. So if you enjoy this type of content, be sure to go check out other videos on the channel. We've covered some of the decks out of Paldea Evolved. When the set drops online, I'll be taking a look at more of the decks. I'll also be doing a deep dive at some point on all of my gripes with PTCG Live as an online client. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. I have a lot to say, and I'm just trying to figure out the best way on how I want to present it to you. So with that said, let's dive right in.
It's duck season, and I don't care if the whole world knows it.
We're playing 4 Quaxley. There's a gorgeous new illustration rare, but you can play whatever one. All you need to know is we're playing 4 of it, and we're going to be trying to evolve into it very quickly. Of course, we're skipping the middle stage evolution. We're a water Pokemon, so we don't have to play those clunky stage 1s unless they have a terrific ability. We're playing 2 copies of Quaquaval EX. What does it do? Lively Samba for 1 energy does 60 damage. Your opponent switches their active with their bench, and then you switch your active with your bench. So it's hit and run. Okay, so that's decent to work with. However, the second attack gives us a little more firepower. Propeller Shot for 2 energy does 230, but you put both energy back in your hand. Right away, that comes off as a big red flag. How do we put energy onto this Pokemon if we're constantly taking them off? Doesn't that seem a little counterintuitive? And you're right. 2 of the Quaquaval from the Scarlet and Violet base set. Its ability, Energy Carnival. Once during your turn, you can attach a basic energy of any type from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So I feel like down the line, if these Pokemon ever get alternate retypings, you know the starters will get at least 1 more EX card down the line to kind of play with this one. So the potential's there. And you can, throw in other types as you go. And just in case, because we are playing with a stage 2 line, we do need a little bit more help. Palkia V-Star. Palkia V-Star is a 280 hit point 2 prize Pokemon. So yes, it does give up the same amount of prizes, but it offers quite a bit. Subspace 12 does 60 damage plus 20 more for each bench Pokemon in play. With a full bench on both boards, that's 260 damage. However, I've been including it for the ability. Star Portal. During the game, you may attach up to 3 water energy cards from your discard pile to your water Pokemon in any way you like. Its additional means of acceleration. Getting 1 stage 2 on the board is tough. Getting 2 can be sometimes impossible depending on the matchup or the opening hand, you name it. It'll be a challenge some games. Palkia is more or less a backup attacker and a backup means of acceleration given the game plan. We want to have a couple attackers prepared and ready to go at all times. We do play a few support Pokemon in the list. Quaquaval will struggle into a lot of matchups. We struggle with Mew. We're playing 1 copy of Drapion, which lets us knock out a Mew VMAX for free should they play 4 Fusion Strike Pokemon. We are playing 1 copy of Radiant Greninja, so we can discard a water energy in this deck and draw 2 cards, which plays into the Palkia. But Moonlight Shuriken is a viable attack, as we can discard 2 energy from this Pokemon and hit 90 to 2 targets. It lets us uptrade, it lets us soften things up, Propeller Shot or Subspace well, and anytime you can take advantage of it, please do. Playing 1 copy of Lumineon. I watch enough podcasts and they emphasize the value of this card, and I'm a big fan of it now. It lets you search for a supporter card, lets you increase your chances of playing the game should you have to go second or on your second turn of the game and you're missing a couple combo pieces. We do have access to some of the best support in the game, being a water Pokemon. Lumineon just helps us reach it a little easier. We're playing 1 copy of Bench Barrier Manaphy. There will be a lot of Baxcalibur running around in the early phases of the format. Do expect Radiant Greninja and the Kyogre from Silver Tempest to be running around. You just want to protect your bench. No free KOs. So we're playing 2 copies of Klefki. I'm going to try hit and run in the early stages. We don't have the cleanest of answers to Lost Ball. They play the Raikou. They play a ton of options. But Klefki shuts off all abilities of basic Pokemon as long as it's in the active spot. If we're Lively Samba, hit and run, throw a Klefki up, their Comfeys might not be able to Flower Select. They might not be able to play Colress off the turn. We do have Iono coming this format, so we're going to try to slow them down and take advantage of that. And then by the time the Klefkis go down, we should have a stable enough board where we can close out. 3rd would be nice, but I don't think they're necessary. And for some Iono protection in the late game, we're playing 1 copy of Bidoof and 1 copy of Industrious Incisors Babear. I found myself playing down most of the cards in my hand and being left with nothing. We are playing 2 stage 1 and 2 lines, so we've got multiple evolution lines in here. A 3rd line is a tad risky, but playing a thicker count can lead to many more bricks. I do like playing out all of my cards and then topping up and digging a little deeper, or off of an Iono to 1 or Iono to 2, and the board Anything where the board is self-contained will feel like a plus in this format. Relying on the cards in your hand is no longer a safe option. There is stronger hand disruption and interaction in this coming set. You can't just say, oh, what's in my hand will be what's in my hand when my next turn starts. Having a means of draw on the board, regardless of what your opponent does, can help you win games. Enough of that tangent. On to the item cards. We are playing 4 Ultra Ball. Discard 2 cards from your hand, search for any Pokemon. It also plays into Industrious Incisors and Star Portal. Cool.
Groovy, baby!
Playing 4 Battle VIP Pass. I know, why not Nest Ball? Well, right now, we really value that first turn just provides that more consistently than a 1-for-1 Nest Ball. We are playing 4 copies of Rare Candy, not 3. We do value both our EX and non-EX Quaquaval. Having more outs to it and having more means of setting them up is always nice. 3 copies of Switch. We did mention that we're a hit and run deck. So if we didn't play enough Switch, that hit and run element would be a bit difficult to maintain. 3 is plenty. Playing 2 one-ofs, 1 Pal Pad to recycle some supporters, 1 Energy Search because we have a supporter that lets us search for item cards, not energy. I'm not entirely sure which stadium I want to go with at the moment, and I'll admit that now. So this is more of a flex spot. We do want stadium bumps though. Lake Acuity. All Pokemon that have water energy attached or fighting take 20 less damage. Brings Palkia up to 300, brings Quaquaval up to 340. You can put it on other things like Barrel or Klefki, you name it. Can mess with some math early on and force them to have bump. I definitely wouldn't oppose an Artisan or Skate Park, I believe. But yeah, that would be something to consider as well, as the Skate Park plays into the 1 prize Energy Carnival. And then we play 2 quick tool cards. So 1 Choice Belt lets us do 30 more damage. And then 1 Cleansing Glove. So this also brings us up for some relevant math. Lively Samba with a Cleansing Gloves can get a Comfey or a Curlia, and that allows you to maintain your hit and run strategy just a little bit longer. Next, we are on to the supporter count. This feels like a must include in any water deck at the moment. We're playing 4 copies of Irida, so it lets you search for a water Pokemon and an item card to put them both into your hand. The entire deck is water. What's not water is more support, and we can live without those, but getting our water Pokemon is essential for this deck to function. We are playing 3 copies of the new Iono. My stance on the card has strengthened as time has gone on. Iono is a comeback card. It is a draw card. You name it, it is a disruption. It says each player shuffles their hand and puts it at the bottom of their deck and then draws 1 card for each prize card remaining. Early stages, because you are a stage 2 deck, you typically play from behind and try to catch up. You can draw 6, they draw 5 or 4, and then in the late game, it's really stick them with 1, and then our Industrious Incisors also help prevent us from our own Ionos. But it's going to be a card you're going to see a lot of, so get used to playing it and get used to playing against it. We are playing 2 copies of Boss's Orders. We still want to pick and choose what we're going to hit, so picking that target is nice, and we do play Pal Pad to get up to 4. 1 copy of Clara. In this deck, we would rather have the cards returned to our hand than our deck. Clara lets us grab 2 Pokemon, 2 Water Energy, put them into our hand. Quaquaval, Energy Carnival, Rare Candy in our hand, recovering Quaxleys if they go down, or Bidoof, Barrels, you name it. 1 copy of Cheryl. You could opt for a second one. I'm not entirely sure how valuable this one will be. In some matchups it will. It'll prevent some annoying Sableye damage. It'll prevent things that can't hit over the 320 if they're not hitting you for weakness. That's a hard number to hit most times. And sometimes Tinglu will try to shut you down. So being able to wash away those damage, it'll keep you in the game because we don't want to lose Industrious Incisors or Star Portal or Energy Carnival too early into the game. They will try to lock you out. And then we are playing 8 energy. Our biggest attacker is a 3 attacker, and that's a Radiant Greninja that we can easily charge. I felt 8 was enough energy for the base skeleton of this deck. If you want to tinker around with some things, I understand. Second Cheryl, more boss, maybe cut the keys, maybe add a second Cleansing Gloves, and really hone in on that Lost Box matchup that people are going to try to play, or the Gardevoir matchup that people will try to play. Whatever you want to do, this is the last of the deck profiles before Paldea Evolved hits PTCG Live. Let me know what your thoughts are and what you are excited to test tomorrow. And until next time, guys, take care.